We got a video from Mike Korzemba in this one, you guys. Chet Holmgren refuses to fix his biggest problem. We're going to check it out. As a lot of you know, Thunder, they lost in the Western Conference Finals. Chet Holmgren finished with just 4 points, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks, but only shot the ball twice the entire game, which is a bit surprising to a lot of NBA fans. We're going to check
in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals, Chet Holmgren scored just 4 points as it was obvious his lack of strength was ruining his game. Now this summer, a picture of Chet emerged and the comments were brutal. Droopy, meanwhile Wemby beefing up. He weighs less than 20-year-old Dylan Harper and still built like a stop sign. The Thunder won the 2025 championship off of the back of Chet and a tremendous amount of depth around him. Only now, with both Chet and Jalen Williams signed to max contracts, where they are both making over $40 million a year as the team needed to get rid of Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, and Lou Dort, we have a problem. Chet can...
Okay, so that's why the Thunder have been letting go of their guys. I kind of figured like they were running out of cap space, but okay, it's because they're paying their big three a crazy amount. Okay, that makes more sense.
Not just be a role player for this team. He can't score 4 points against Wemby. The Thunder's hopes of winning their next championship rest on the shoulders of Chet Holmgren. But what if those shoulders are the size of pencils? I want to give a realistic look at Chet's strengths and weaknesses in this video. And in the 2026 season, Chet was an all-star, he was a third-team All-NBA selection, and he did finish second in the Defensive Player of the Year voting. They are betting he is a franchise cornerstone next to Chet. I say this because the Thunder are not only shedding salary cap space to keep Chet, they refuse to add him in trade talks with Giannis or anyone else, simply saying he is unavailable. When we look at Chet's...
You know what's crazy too? You know what's crazy is the Thunder had, they were 1 game away from going to the NBA Finals. They were 1 game away. And they were out like two of their better players. Like Jalen Williams was out, and then I think AJ Mitchell was out too. Like those are 2 big pieces for this Thunder squad that were both out. So yes, the expectation is that Chet steps up, but you had Jalen Williams he was out until later on in the series, and then AJ Mitchell was out for a good portion of the series.
That's from his rookie, sophomore, and then third season. They have improved slightly, but they also remain largely the same, especially if we compare Chet's first 3 seasons to the leaps Wemby took, as he finished third in the MVP voting in year 3, or if we compare Chet's progression to someone like Jalen Duren, who just got clowned in the playoffs, or Sengun's first 3 seasons, or Bam's, or Anthony Davis's. Every one of these guys showed clear improvements on the stat sheet going into year 4. From Chet, all we have really seen right now is he continues to ignore his biggest flaw, and it is costing him. Chet has nonstop heard, "You are too skinny," for the last several summers. He heard it going into the NBA draft. Whether you agree with it or not, Chet has personally said that he does not agree with it. Back in 2023 on All the Smoke, Chet was directly asked about adding weight, and he said,
"Recently you said you've been trying to add weight. There's so much into the game now. It's not necessarily about gaining weight. As you add some muscle and get older, you always add weight, but I don't want to add the wrong weight."
Which does sound like it makes perfect sense. Except muscle does not magically come when you get older. You need to work to add on that muscle. And we have seen guys such as Wemby, Kevin Durant, and Anthony Davis all have the same problem. They were all too skinny to enter the NBA. They all also were afraid of adding the wrong kind of weight. And then by year 4, they had all made noticeable progress to adding muscle to their frame to unlock.
Hey, sounds like those guys, they really fill it out into their bodies, because you think about it, a lot of these guys are coming into the league, they're 18, 19 years old, so they haven't fully filled out their body yet. But as you keep building muscle, as you keep lifting weights, getting stronger, when you get to 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 even, there's a noticeable difference because you've been building up muscle over time.
Their full potential, which tells us Chet is
and then
not
you're a different player completely.
Problem. He is straight up rejecting. In the 2025 finals, Chet did come through in Game 7. 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 blocks. The most blocks ever in a Game 7 in finals history. He was riding high. Only now, just one season later, I have to ask you, would you be confident paying 25% of your salary cap to Chet Holmgren after he just averaged 10.7 points per game to Wemby's 27.3 in the Western Conference Finals? When his team...
Hey, looking at the numbers right there, I didn't know Wemby owned Chet Holmgren that badly. I'm like, oh shoot. Seeing the stats like side by side,
needed him the most. Chet Holmgren took 2 shots against the Spurs in Game 7 and 0 in the second half. Wemby not only averaged more points than him, he also averaged more rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. He was so in Chet's head that Chet refused to even look at the basket in Game 7.
Only 4 points in this Game 7. So he hasn't even taken a shot here in the second half. Correct. You've got to be kidding me.
Clearly, Chet had lost confidence, and the reason for this was that the Spurs did not allow Chet's skinny frame to get anywhere near the rim for easy baskets. And after the Game 7 loss, Shea would go out and say,
I would say it's like the version of Chet that we have today is the worst version of Chet we'll ever have.
Shea was saying Chet was at a low point and that he was only going to get better from here. But we have to be realistic. There is a limit to how good anyone can get, including Chet, if they stay this skinny, if they are as skinny as the picture we saw to begin this video. We've watched Wemby add weight in real time, and we have seen him become an unstoppable monster at times because of it. Wemby is continuing to add strength. He will be even stronger to begin the 2027 season. Chet, it looks like, is not taking his weight seriously at all. I did say we want to be realistic in this video, though. And even standing as a twig, Chet's defense continues to show signs of a promising elite career defender. According to Crafted NBA, Chet's rim defense in the
7'6" wingspan
was in the 99th percentile in the entire league. Opponents shot 15.5% worse at the rim against Chet versus a normal defender. And his defensive box score plus minus was in the 100th percentile, top of the NBA. So we can see why Chet would already believe in himself at this weight. But the Thunder deciding that Chet is untouchable is not a small decision by any means. In 2025, after they won 68 games, OKC started the 2026 season with a 24-1 record. As we have to remember, Jalen Williams was injured. Chet was their secondary scorer, their secondary star without him. And so when the Thunder say they want Chet to be able to take on a bigger role, in the first 25 games of last year, they already saw him do so. Except, I think we see some warning signs that directly apply to the fact that Chet is not adding on weight. If we're being real, his stock has never been lower after the Western Conference Finals, but one playoff series does not make a career. What is concerning, though, is it is the playoffs where true stars are born. And what if I told you we have already been given extreme warning signs
playoffs
that
are where you're
weight
expected
was
to
going
step
to
up
be
for
a
sure.
problem back in the
If you don't,
2025 playoffs.
people
In
gotta
the
talk
second
about
round
it.
against the Nuggets, Chet already left this series knowing his weight was going to be an issue if he didn't fix something. In Game 1.
So I mean, hey, it's an opportunity. The playoffs are a huge opportunity to really make a name for yourself, and like prove what you're worth, and show your value to the team. There's also a lot more eyeballs on these NBA games come playoff time versus the regular season. Everyone's watching everything much closer, so you gotta really just lock in and do the best that you possibly can and try playing at the highest level that you can every single game, because everything is magnified extremely in the playoffs.
Nikola Jokic dropped 42 points and 22 rebounds.
Sheesh.
Shots 12 points and 6
Bro,
rebounds.
Jokic is such a beast.
If you are really one of the best defenders in the world and you are a big man, you need to at least be able to somewhat stop one of the best offensive big men in the world. That is your job. Rudy Gobert has been clowned a lot. He just got extremely high praise for playing incredible defense on Jokic in last season's playoffs. You can definitely make the argument that it was Isaiah Hartenstein who was largely tasked with guarding Jokic. So it was Hartenstein Jokic was scoring on, but that actually brings up a deeper issue. In the modern NBA, Chet Holmgren is absolutely at his best playing center. He does not have the ball handling or the foot speed to be playing the power forward position, but because of his strength and just his strength alone, Chet is not able to guard actual high-level NBA centers because they just body him, which means the Thunder aren't able to use Chet at the best of his abilities, and Chet is not able to unlock fully what he could bring to the NBA. He should be able to defend the post while providing a floor-stretching three-point threat at the center position, a man who could be unstoppable under the rim, who could catch lobs, who could give Shea the perfect pick-and-roll or pick-and-pop partner. Chet, with 30 more pounds on him, would give the Thunder the ability to use lineups that are unguardable. And here's the thing, they're actually able to use those lineups against the right teams in the regular season. It is there where Chet has looked awesome, but then against strong, highly skilled bigs like Jokic, we have the results of the 2025 playoffs, where the Nuggets, with a clearly worse roster, were able to push the Thunder to 7 games, as Nikola Jokic averaged 28.4 points, 13.9 rebounds, and 5.9 assists per game. And it is here where we have to bring up another issue with Chet's game, something that is very worrying for me after having such a bad playoffs, and that is Chet's mental strength. Is Chet Holmgren the type of player who will bounce back from a bad Western Conference Finals and then come and take vengeance on the NBA in the next season? Well, the 2025 Finals gave Chet a matchup that, in theory, one of the best centers in the NBA would feast on. Miles Turner is a good defensive center. Don't get me wrong, but if a team is relying on you to build a dynasty-type run, if a team is saying that you are untouchable in Giannis-like trades, then the NBA Finals are where you show that you are built to become one of the best centers of this era. Except, in the first 6 games of these NBA Finals, Chet was completely bailed out by the rest of the Thunder in what would eventually become a 7-game Finals win. If Tyrese Haliburton didn't tear his Achilles in this series,
that Achilles tear
may have lost, and a lot of the blame would have been put on Chet due to his play. Chet for the series averaged just 12.3 points per game as a big man and shot under 40% from the field. He did come through in Game 7, yes, we mentioned that, but in Game 6, right before, he shot 2 for 9 with just 4 points. So honestly, as we see these pictures of Chet just seemingly refusing to address his most fatal flaw, which is just get a private chef, we do have to question whether or not he really wants to go out and become the best center in basketball. I don't think he's ever going to actually get there versus Wemby, but I do think as an NBA player, you need to believe you are the absolute best player at your position if you are going to have the most success. I really don't think that Chet is currently taking that approach, and we have seen bad playoff runs just completely ruin a player.
It kind of sounds, so it's sounding like there's a question as to like his motor, his drive to like get stronger and just change his game physically, you know, because like if he like everyone is thinking, if Chet just adds some weight, put some weight onto him, gets stronger, add like 15 pounds, I mean that's gonna change his game. That's gonna change his game completely, because then he's not gonna get bodied by stronger, more physical centers. You know, he'll be able to hold his own a little more, and not have to slide to the floor, because you know the Thunder, they've been playing a lot of that double big lineup where they'll play Isaiah Hartenstein at the 5 because he's strong and physical and he'll rebound, and that whereas Chet is like lengthy but doesn't have like the same physical aspect that
we watched Ben Simmons have one awful playoff series against the Hawks, make one terrible decision where he passed versus Trae Young, and suddenly Ben, who was also once a third-team All-NBA selection, was never an All-Star again, was never an impact player in the NBA again. It is not a stretch to say that for certain players, one bad playoff series can ruin their mentality for the rest of their careers. Hammering home on the mental strength here, I personally do not like the way Chet has handled his rivalry with Wemby at all. all. Yes, Wemby has been forcing this rivalry on Chet. Chet didn't choose this, but early in their careers, a tweet went out saying that Wemby didn't like Chet. It showed Wemby ignoring Chet after one of their first games. And then later that season, Wemby directly stared down Chet after
he went right at him right there. Wemby went right at Chet.
Missed a free throw in the NBA Cup. We've seen Wemby take shots at Chet, such as saying, from a basketball standpoint, there is no comparison between the two. And this is on purpose, because Wemby is choosing to gain his motivation from beating out a direct rival. The report was that Victor's motivation heading into the 2026 season was to go out and get a championship because Chet already had one on him. We saw Wemby use this self-created motivation to go out and finish third in the MVP voting and then reach the NBA Finals. But on his side, Chet has just been trying to ignore this entire thing. He went on Paul George's podcast and said,
people will be like, y'all got beef? I'm like, beef? Yeah. We're out there competing, but beef, like, beef means, like, when I see you, like, right. You know what I mean? Why do I got beef with him? I honestly don't even know the guy. Like, we just, like, basketball against each other.
But there is beef. We all see it as Wemby has continued to throw shots.
What's going to be on the court? You know, the MVP is in that court, reigning MVP, so he is going to be focused. Anybody is hard to guard when you have to help on the MVPs.
Chet obviously sees all the things Wemby is saying, but he's decided to just say that this is a team game and it's not about him versus Wemby. At the end of the day, though, Chet Holmgren taking this personally and becoming a at least worthy competitor to Wemby would be the best thing for the Thunder's success. If Chet was outplaying Wemby, a clip like this would look cool.
These two got a little bit of a rivalry, goes back to their youth days.
This is a fun rivalry.
Someone is visibly trying to get in.
Hey, bro, this is a fun rivalry that we could have for the next 5 to 10 years, man. The next 5 to 10 years, Thunder Spurs, bro. That could be such a fun rivalry. I mean, it's exciting. Like all these young guys who are out here playing at such a high level. The next generation of NBA stars, you know, is rising, and it's really cool to see for sure.
To your head is an awesome
really
move
cool
in the right situation. However, after the Western
Wemby and
Conference
Chet
Finals,
rivalry.
Chet looked legitimately traumatized after the whooping he just received from Wemby. So even if you don't start a rivalry, if a player is just coming at you relentlessly, and you do nothing to defend yourself while also getting dominated by him on the court, he is the true wild card now to the Thunder's future. They have locked him into that max deal. They made him untouchable in trade talks when they could have went out and got a guy like Giannis. Which means at the end of the day, the Thunder are taking a massive gamble that Chet Holmgren will be a second star next to Shea for the next decade. A decision that could pay off, or a decision that we may one day point to and say, hey, that is the move the Thunder made that ended up ruining a potential dynasty. So there we have it. Thank you for watching.
Very interesting thoughts from Korzemba. And yeah, I mean, it just sounds like it's the mindset. It's all the mindset. Like, you just lost Game 7. You didn't perform up to expectations. Didn't really do a whole lot in that game. So now it's all about how do you respond? How do you respond this year? How hungry are you to go out there and win and prove to everyone who you really are as a player, and to just go out there and try competing for a championship, because the Spurs just knocked you guys out. Your rivals just knocked you guys out in the Western Conference Finals. So this year is going to be big. This year is going to be big for Chet Holmgren. It's big for a lot of guys. It's big for the Spurs as well, seeing how they respond after losing in the NBA Finals. And then there's been so much movement in the offseason that there's a lot of question marks around several different teams, because several key guys are moving around to different franchises. So there's a lot of moving pieces, but several teams have a lot of potential. So it's gonna be exciting. I can't wait for NBA season to come back around. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this, and I will catch you all in the next one.